All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going on with our next Team Excellence Elite Distributor Training webinar. Here we're going to talk about growing your multi-level money tree. And we're going to look at the skills that it takes to do this. Last week in the previous webinar, we talked about creating the fuel to make that machine run. The people that you have, how to create your list, how to properly peak them. We're going to review the skill of peaking tonight, and then from there we're going to get into the main skills that you've got to be able to do to grow this. I love seeing the new guys on here, the new distributors, because this is how you make your money. This business does not make money unless unless there's people coming in and buying product, purchasing product, enrolling as distributors, starting their business. We've got to get product in people's hands for there to be money made. So we need people, obviously, to do that, and then we need some skills. So, if you ever listen to Eric Worre, he talks about 7 skills of network marketing. I would highly encourage you. If you're looking for a great MLM skills book, get Eric Worre's GoPro. There's an audio series. There's also is available in a book. It's fantastic. He provides some amazing insight from his experience in the MLM industry. So the first thing we're going to look at, some of you, we're going to review the peak when it comes to building your business. This is how we're in a people business. And we've got to be able to get people to look at the information. We want to create curiosity. We want to peak them so that we can then pass them on to other resources, on to tools like that. And you got to understand the rules of this game. A lot of times people go into this, I guess, with eyes wide shut. They don't understand that it's a numbers game. That's why what you lack in skill, you make up for in numbers. You have to get out of your head. You have to get out of your own mind. A lot of people wait and they think, I got to get ready. I got to be better before I approach people. What happens is you never start. You're getting ready to get ready. It's ready, aim, 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 aim. In 3 weeks from now, they're still working on their list, trying to perfect their list, but they haven't talked to a single person. And if you haven't talked to any people, that means you hadn't followed up with any people. That means nobody's enrolled, nobody's made a purchase. That means you're not making any money. So you have to do the things to get people in front of information. You have to do the things to get them on the phone with people where you can follow up, and then you have to do the things it takes to generate volume, which is how you get compensated. So, we got to remember 2 a day brings freedom your way. If you talk to 2 people 5 days a week, that is 40 people a month. That's 4 enrollments. No one on Excellence Elite cranks out numbers quite like that. So that tells me that we're not talking to that many people. And it goes back to the numbers game. And and I'll go ahead and I'm gonna bust some people out. Not trying to be tough like I was last week, but every distributor has 2 groups of people: the people they know, and then the people they're willing to prospect. There's people in your networks that you should be going after that you haven't yet, and people that you need to make sure that you're that are waiting for this opportunity and waiting for the information. Now, here's why it's important to make sure that we're system driven when it comes to peaking and passing. Very simply put, good, bad, or ugly, whatever you do, your people will do as well. If you have to sample product to get somebody in, they'll have to sample product to get somebody in. If you only do 3-way calls to get somebody in, they will only do 3-way calls. If you only take people to PBRs, then they'll only take people to PBRs. So you need to look at how the successful people are doing this business, that are doing it big time, that are growing, that are making the money, and then you need to commit to do it that way. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. There's no need to try to be original. Simply put, you need to humble yourself and copy the right cats. If you don't copy the right cats, then you're setting your business up for failure to go with this. Now, good, bad, or ugly, what you do duplicates. How you bring somebody in is what they do. You begin training your team when you begin prospecting them. That's why sometimes the people that get in right at the very beginning, they don't make it because they get in on excitement, or they get in on something that they can't duplicate. Now, it should make perfect sense to go with this, that if you change the recipe, you're not going to get the same dish. And what I mean by that is very simple. If you're in the kitchen and you're trying to make hamburgers, and all you have is ground beef, you have ground beef, but you don't have any buns, and you just got tortilla chips, you're not going to end up with hamburgers. You're going to end up with nachos. It's not the same dish. It's about the same, but it's not. They're similar, but they're not the same. And so you need to understand and commit to being system-driven so that you avoid having a similar dish but not having the masterpiece that is a multi-level marketing money tree. Something you might have a multi-level marketing money pit because you're not teachable, you're not coachable, so you just throw your money in it. You might have a multi-level marketing money hobby. There's all kinds of things that you can have, but if you want a money tree, you got to follow the recipe. Now, when it comes to peaking, here's a great idea that less is more. Don't talk, listen. Nobody wants to hear you talk about you. They want you to ask them questions so they can talk about their favorite topic, which is themselves. So, don't tell your story, tell other people's stories. Be excited, but keep it system simple. Do not vary the recipe. No more, no less. Another thing I'll tell you here, if you stick to the recipe, as we progress through the system, you are able to keep things predictable. Fear of rejection, fear of the unknown are two of the greatest hindrances to brand new distributors. So if you ask the proper questions in the proper sequence, you make the responses of the prospect very predictable. And people generally aren't afraid of things that are predictable. That's why nobody freaks out when they sit down on a couch, because it is predictable based upon thousands of repetitions that if they sit on a couch, they are going to sit on the couch and the couch will hold them and they will be able to be comfortable, as opposed to the couch spontaneously combusting, being kicked out from underneath them, or catching on fire. Those things don't generally happen. So predictability brings comfort. That's why people don't get freaked out when they stand up in the morning. They trust the floor to hold them because that's predictable. So by asking the right questions and sticking to the recipe, you can predict the outcomes and what's going to happen. Now, peaking is best done by asking questions. I like to ask questions like this. If I'm talking to someone and they're complaining about their health, I'll say, Bill, do you value your health? Now, I want you to understand something, people. This is a little underhanded. I call it being good verbally. But, if you're a parent, you understand this. You never ask the question that you don't know the answer to. And in this business, you should always ask questions they got to say yes to. Because what kind of jackleg is going to say that they don't value their health? Who's going to say that, well, Britton, if I could make more money, it would not benefit my family? No, that would not benefit us at all. If you ask those two questions and they say yes to both of them, then they by default, because they said yes to both of them, have to say yes that they be open to some information. And then we want to ask, when can you look at that information? That allows us to begin that book a meeting for the set up the time for the follow-up. Some more questions. Do you keep your options open for making money? Do you keep your income options open? If you can make more money doing what you're doing already, doing every day, would you be open to it? Now think about it. If somebody says that they do not keep their options open for making money, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate their intelligence? Because I guarantee you, if I had Warren Buffett sitting in my office and I said, Mr. Buffett, do you keep your options open for making money? He's going to look at me and say, Britton, yes, I do. I'm glad you do. You got 10 minutes to take a look at something. He owns 3 network marketing companies, by the way. Now, a lot of times people may throw some objections out there, but I love to use this right here. If I could show you a way to blank, would you be open? I'm too busy to look at anything like that. Well, if I could show you how you have time, would you be open? Questions like that. All right, now, so that's the peak. Now, let's get to the pass. We're going to create that curiosity. Now we're going to pass that person to the information. In the art of passing, it is very important that you should peak and pass 2 people a day to information. Now, note this, I'll say information, not to you telling them everything about the product, not to you begging them to make a purchase, not to you telling everything that you know about Moringa oleifera, Russ Bianchi, Ken Brailsford, 36, 46, 26, not that. To you passing the information. Note the second point. Thou shall not be a tool. Use one. ZG International has invested lots of money into all kinds of tools that we can have, videos. There are a lot of distributor-made tools out there, like our video of Howard Fisher doing an overview of the products. That's cool. Use those things. Do not be the primary source of information. That is not duplicatable. When we pass someone to an information, do not send them to www.excellenceelite.com. Check it out. Get back to me. Wrong. Send them to excellenceelite.com, information tab. Check out videos number 1 and 5, please. Can you watch those this afternoon? You can? Great. Can we talk about that tonight? I'm anxious to hear what you have to say about it. Fantastic. What time's best for you, 8 or 9? Well, you put the kids to bed at 8, then 9 it is. Talk to you at 9 o'clock tonight. Thanks. That's a peek and a pass. Do not forget, the first exposure is a sort. Most people aren't going to be interested, and that's okay. If they're not interested, that means they're not interested right now. All right. When it comes to the pass, always have a follow-up time set up after the pass. That's the BAM fan. This allows you to get your expert on standby, ready to go. Once you have passed, once you have given them the information, very important, do not talk to the prospect until the follow-up. That means they may text you and ask questions. They may call you and want to talk to you about it. That's fine. Don't, because you can't be prepared for a proper follow-up by bringing your expert online. So don't talk to them. Now, my one exception to this rule is if you have a follow-up scheduled. Let's just say that Josh Wolf and I have a follow-up schedule, and we're set for 9 o'clock tonight. And I asked Josh, we know at 9, so at 8:30. Josh knows it's going to take 10 minutes to watch these 2 videos because I told him. And at 8:30, I may reach out to Josh and say, hey, Josh, I'm going to be stepping away from a family thing. I'm going to be stepping away from some time with my kids or with my wife, or I'm going to be stepping out of something that you're doing. I want to make sure we're still good for 9 o'clock. Can you please confirm? You can do a confirmation text. And then go from there. And you want to give them 30 minutes before the call, so that way if they haven't watched the videos, you can kind of remind them they need to watch them. But it's very important that once you pass someone information, you don't answer their text, you don't answer all their questions, because you want to do that in the 3-way call with a follow-up with your upline. Now, when we pass, what do we pass people to? I love excellenceelite.com has all of the videos that you could possibly need, 1 through 7 there on the website. We have a great YouTube page where you can get links and send people specific videos. We have the Wellness and Success newsletter. We have the Success from Home magazine. We have webinars. We have DVDs. We have we have CDs. We have a plethora of tools in our toolbox that will tell someone about the ZG opportunity. And it's very important that we make sure that we use those tools to be our primary sources of information, because we're wanting to teach them a very important lesson. Anybody can do this business, and anybody can hand somebody a CD. Anybody can give somebody a website. Anybody can do those things to go with it. Now, after the first exposure, the second exposure, third exposure, fourth exposure can be a little more time-consuming. They can require a little bit more time. And here's the reason why, because we know that if we get to a second 3-way call, we get to a third 3-way call, we know they are legitimately interested. That's what we know. And so that's very important to go down those lines. The plug. Now, this is where you make your money. The fortune is in the follow-up. You want to plug people in. You want to get them to information other than you. You want to then get them on the phone with someone to hear their story and get their questions answered. But when it comes to the follow-up, if you don't follow up, people won't join your business. They want you to be professional. You have to reach out to them. They won't reach out to you. In other words, In my time in the business, I've been doing this for over 5 years, and I have some people who will say, hey, are you still doing that? And they might be open to some information. That happens occasionally. But what you want to make sure is that you are the one that's establishing contact. Well, I don't want to bother them. Then you're not going to make any money. If Herb Wiseman hadn't have been persistent, if I hadn't have been persistent, I wouldn't. Herb would have never got me, and I wouldn't have got Terry Birdsong. I wouldn't have got Kevin Ray. You have to have a degree of persistence because we have what they want. We have what they need. They just may not know it yet, and we have to be persistent in what we have. The plug. Always follow up and plug over the phone. Do not follow up in person. Do not follow up on Facebook. Do not follow up on Instant Messenger. Do not follow up with smoke signals. Do not follow up with email. Do not follow up with eye-to-eye contact. Because you cannot bring in your expert to do that. Don't set the precedent of going and meeting with people to expose them and to follow up with them. Then that tells them, we want them to know that this is a phone-based business, not a go meet somebody business. Do that. Now, when you get ready to introduce your upline, you always want to use Mr. and Mrs. And my general introduction is like this. When I get ready to follow up, I ask 3 questions. Did you look at the information? What did you like best? What do you want to know more about? Those are the 3 questions that I ask my prospect. All right. And when I do that, when I ask those 3 questions, it's very important that I listen to the answers because those questions tell me, they're predictable questions. They have to make sure the answers are they're predictable. And here's the reason I say that. Because if I say question, the first follow-up question, number 1, did you look at the information? Number 2, well, hang on a second before I get to number 2. Did you look at the information? That is a yes or no question. If they said no, reschedule the follow-up. Say, well, you told me you were. I stepped away from my family. Can you, when will you be able to get to it? Question 2. What did you like best? We want them to be positive. We don't want to give them a chance. Well, what'd you think about it? Oh, that's a bunch of, if you ask a question, what did you like best? They have to say something positive. And they can only say the business or the product. It's one of those 2 categories. And you go from there and it sets you up for some great success. Question number 3, what do you want to know more about? This prevents them from being able to say, oh, well, I don't have any, do you have any questions? No, I don't have any questions. That way they can, they're trying to get off of the phone as quick as possible. But if you ask the questions along these lines, if you ask them this way, then what happens is they are very, they're kind of, I don't want to say stuck, but, you're asking questions you know the answers to. It's predictable, and it should keep you from being uncomfortable, to say the least, to go with that. All right. So so we ask our questions. We get there now we're going to properly edify and intro our expert. We're going to say, we're going to say this is Mr. Bill Durrett. He's somebody I have a huge amount of respect for. He's building a big business, and he's helping a lot of people. He's got a great product story, and I think you guys have a lot in common. I can't wait for you to hear his story. And then I'm going to return, and then I'm going to say, Bill, this is my prospect. This is Mr. Frank Pasquino. He's from Ziegler, Illinois. Frank's interested in weight loss and some other things. So, Bill, can you tell your story and answer any questions that Frank has? And at that point in time, after I have done that introduction, I'm going to hit mute on my phone. I'm going to sit back and shut up unless someone asks me a direct question. But I am going to let my expert do the heavy lifting. A lot of times when I do my 3-way calls and my follow-ups, like I did one tonight, I ordered dinner. I ate dinner. And then I went upstairs and tucked my daughter in while my three-way call was going on. Very simple process, but you got to follow that with it. You got to stick with it. Now, once the three-way call is over, you have to ask your person what's keeping you from getting started. If you do not invite them to get started, they will not get started. You have to make that invite. You have to bring them into that. Now we got to promote and present. We got to promote to present, to present and to get them in front of information. And sometimes we have to do that. But we have to promote them to the next event, to the next call. We want them to see there's more people involved in this than just them. We want them to see there's more people involved in this than just you to do that. So that's where we're going to use these events like, it might be an opportunity call. Some of you may not even know what the opportunity calls are. If you go to excellenceelite.com, event schedule, there is a call schedule for every call that's involved in ZJ International. Some of you may not know that on Wednesday nights at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, we have a product call. We have opportunity calls on Tuesday and Thursday. We have team calls on Sunday and Monday. Get people plugged into those calls. We have webinars. Usually we have an opportunity webinar on Tuesday. We have one on Wednesday. We have a training webinar on Thursday. People should be having at least one home event a week, so you can do that. Then we have big events about once a month in different markets. Then we have major events like May 10th, where we're going to be doing the product launch in Bowling Green, and then Compound Your Momentum in June. So last thing as we get ready to wrap this up is we want to make sure that we invite our people to join us, get started with us. People don't join companies, they join you. So we want to be professional. We want to be systematic. We want to make sure we do this right and put our best foot forward. People don't get started until you invite them to join you, and the lack of invitation is the number one reason that people do not join this business because, they never ask me to try the product. They never ask me to get started. They never ask me to join their team. They never ask me to become a distributor. So you got to make sure that you overcome those barriers, that you remove every barrier so that they either got to say yes or no. Whichever they say is fine, because we know that no is not yet, and we know that yes is just around the corner. So here's some additional resources for you. If you have specific questions on other training things that are available, things that are there that go with this, excellenceelite.com is our team site. TeamElite.net is Team Elite's site, and then we also have ZG University in the back office. Take advantage of these resources. They will make you better. And so, in closing, this is what I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, is it's very important for you to understand that this business you're not going to be good at it when you start. No one is a natural at this. It is still difficult for me as a triple diamond that's been doing this for 5 years. I still hate to do follow-up calls. I still hate to pick up the phone and call someone and say, did you look at the information? I hate doing that. But if you don't do those things, if you don't get started, you can never get the ball rolling. You can never get to the level of success. Because you just have to understand that some things, either whether you like them or not, you have to do them. And as you do those things, you will begin to develop a skill set that will allow you over time to develop a six-figure income on a part-time basis. But you have to start. You got to start at the start. You got to get out of your own mind and realize that 95% of this business is learned on the fly. It's learned by doing. It is not learned by sitting in a webinar. It's not learned by sitting at home listening to CDs. It's learned by you doing and applying the knowledge that you absorb. There's no greater teacher than you doing something. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't go well, that's fine too. You evaluate it. You go to a source of information. You take your experience, and then what you learn, you combine them, and then you get a better opportunity. You're better the next opportunity. But if you only now think about this. Let's talk about the numbers game. If you only talk to one or two people a week, how long is it going to take you to develop your skill set? If you talk to two people a day, 10 people a week, 40 people per month, in your first 2 weeks, you're going to get your skill set pretty well refined, and then, if you start with your family and friends first, get your disappointments over with early. See your family and friends first. You start with them. You practice on them. You get good on them, And then when you start finding the people that are going to explode your business, you have some skill sets and you do it. But you have to learn by doing. Ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. So I appreciate you for joining us tonight. I will answer questions here shortly after I stop the recording. And so if there's anything that